you dance. Yeah. That is how you will dance to 2020. You know I will invite you to come and join me to dance. Yeah. I said, you know
All right, what's going on, guys? We're about to get started in about 2 minutes. Let's just make sure that we're not causing trouble. All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back. We're about to get started in about 60 seconds or so. Something like that. In the meanwhile, let me just get this word out.
Welcome, beautiful ladies and oh shit! I need to see your circle, your network, your network. Check this out.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Let's see. Welcome back. What's going on? This is all coming to you live from my myEmpirePRO studios. I am the author of Smart Real Estate Wholesaling and the creator of myEmpirePRO. I have a quick lesson to share with you here today. Let's see here. Hi, Delilah. Welcome back again. You have a question there. Before I get into your question, let me see. I think I may have. Let me see if I can call this lead real quick. Maybe we can have a quick live session. Let's see here. There you go. Let's see if someone picks up. This is James. All right, so that's gonna happen. That was a bad lead, but anyway, let's talk about today. We're talking about disposition solution offers. If you've never heard of that before, we're here talking about real estate wholesaling, real estate investing, and we're going to talk about that. There are two different types that you really should pay attention to if you want to win big in this game. Please don't forget, share, give the video a thumbs up if you're watching. If I say anything that of value to you, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up, because it helps us spread the word a little bit more. This is also a business for us. The coaching, education part of the business is also a business. So we can you can help me help more people. All right. So thank you so much. With that being said, I wanna let me get your question real quick here. When virtual wholesaling, how do you engage in the closing process if you're out of state when dealing with a title company or closing attorney? Okay, that's a good question, but it's actually a very simple one. I think I answered it on yesterday's session. So you want to make sure you watch yesterday's session again to really, any video I do, to be honest with you, you have to watch multiple times. If you want to get the most out of it, because just generally speaking, I advise the same thing when people are reading my books. I say, hey, you have to read 10 to 15 times, because some things really make sense after you see it a few times. Just keep that in mind. But the way I answered it yesterday was basically what's the best way to find cash buyers. So yesterday was basically about the best way to find cash buyers, right? And honestly, the best way is still the same thing. How do you engage the closing process? Is really by dealing with an agent, okay? An agent who is investor friendly. Obviously, they will be if you're paying them handsomely. If you're paying them 3, 4, 5%, 6% commission on the deal, they will be investor friendly, okay? And they're actually happier to help you with when it comes to title company and closing attorneys. Um, Finding the closing attorneys and title companies that are investor friendly, the best way to do that is really you can do that on Facebook groups, okay? If you're part of our community on Facebook groups, there's a ton of them on Facebook, and you can say anybody in Alabama State or something like that, and people will usually, and also you can Google information about title companies in that area, and just simply ask a question: do you work with investors? Are you familiar with creative deals? Because we have some of the structure. If somebody responds, like a title company responds with, well, it depends. Well, if you hear like some kind of defensive tone in their voice, just hang up and just call the next person. There's options. You have options basically. So Google is your friend when it comes down to it. Facebook groups is your friend when it comes down to it, and of course, partnerships is also a part of it. Okay, you have to find ways to partner with people that are experienced on ground. Once you partner, at least for the first deal, um, then you now have relationship with that title company after you close that deal. See, one thing I always tell people is always pay attention to what you're investing in. If you're investing in just one deal, just write down one deal away, you want to close this deal, you're probably going to fail in the business. But if you invest in relationships, if you think about every deal as an opportunity to create another relationship, this game is just gets a lot more easier, because again, close your first deal, partner with people, don't shy away from partnering with people, and eventually, yes, the partnership may run its course. Like you don't really need the person anymore, but we always need each other. Let me just be frank with you, okay? We're always going to need each other, okay? That's just the way life works. We're social beings, and also the best resources are from other people. And being resourceful includes building a team and building relationships and all of those kind of things. And that's why the third pillar inside the book is people, okay? It's not just customers, it's also people that you get to partner with to get deals done. All right. And that's why it's a lot of people that that fall prey to the idea of they figured it out, and there's no such thing as completely figure it out. You're always a student of the game, and you're always a student of other people, even if they're not experienced. Okay, so you always be listening, because you build, as you're building experience, you're also building a blind spot. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so to answer your question, relationships with people that are on ground. You can start with a professional, start with an agent. An agent may just know somebody, okay? May know a title company, an attorney. And if you're partner with an agent, have the agent facilitate and worry about everything else. That's their job. That's what they're there for. And you just be an investor and a marketer. Generate the leads. If you generate leads for this business, everyone will love you. Everyone will make sure they protect you. Okay. And I always say, hey, I got five more coming. I always say that I got about five more deals coming your way. I'm working. That's what I am. I'm a marketer. I bring the leads to the table. You say that to them, they would not want to hurt you. All right. So with that being said, hopefully that answered your question, 245D. Hopefully that answered your question. Um, Please look out for the 11 days challenge. It's coming. We're working. Right now, we're just working on the sales funnel to make sure that it's working perfectly. And then we'll start rolling out those tutorial videos, and then we'll make it available for everyone. It's going to be extremely affordable once it's launched, but you will literally have a short time to take advantage of it, and then the price will go back to its normal, which is $997 one-time fee. But it's going to be extremely affordable. When I say extremely, I mean extremely. Okay, so you gotta just pay attention to what I'm doing here. I'm going to be here tomorrow again, 4 p.m. Okay, I'm here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I will announce. Make sure you're on my newsletter. If you downloaded the book from the website, myEmpirePRO.com, you will get the word. Okay, so make sure you're on that list. Make sure you're subscribed everywhere you can be to make sure you don't miss out on that. Okay, so you're going to be able to come in without the need for. If you're already a member, you're going to have access automatically. Okay. All right. So if you're already a member of my Empire Pro Premium, that is a 3-pillar system. All right. So let's go back to what we're talking about today, which is disposition solution offer. So you're making an offer, right? When you're making offers to people, I think I mentioned yesterday that don't feel pressured to give people an offer on the phone. Motivated sellers are motivated sellers. Okay. You want to basically take advantage of emails, creating reports to, you want to take advantage of those things to become marketing pieces for you out there. Okay. So anytime you send an email to somebody that's a document in it, make sure you always label it with your name, your email address, and your phone number. If you have a company name, your website address, like allabuysHouses.com, something like that, right? If you have something like that, always make sure that it's labeled everywhere, because the timing may not be right now. The timing may be right later. Okay. That's one thing I wanted to share with you. But the two things I wanted to share with you, you're making cash offers, but we're investors. Okay. So we have to come from a solution standpoint. Okay. That's where deals are. Okay. If you're out there and you're talking to FISBOs, for sale by owners, right? And personally, I don't like that strategy, okay? Because most of them want top dollars for them. They want top dollars. They listed a house and they're looking to get most money they can get, right? Now, not all of them, but most of them. But that's also most of everything, okay? But here's what I'm trying to tell you. You want to make sure that you are making the most of your time by applying leverage, by applying marketing skills, okay? Pre-qualification is a must. Okay, there are stages that people go through in your funnel. Believe it or not, in wholesaling there is funnels. Okay, when somebody call you for the first time, right, there's a funnel, okay, that they're going through. There's an experience they're going through. Or when you call a prospect, there's an experience that they're going through, and that experience has stages in it. Okay, so now we have the data, right, and then we have contact. And then you have lead generation, right? That means they've called you or they've said, yes, I'm open to selling. A lead has just been generated, right? And then you get into negotiations until you get a contract. That's the stage 4, right? And then you have the fifth stage, which is essentially deal disposition. That's when you look for a cash buyer, right? But the cash buyer part is also like a process on its own. That's stage 5, right? You find a cash buyer. That cash buyer is a prospect, and you have to treat them like a prospect with respect equally across board. Because they said they're a cash buyer and they're not a mortgage buyer does not mean you have to put them on a pedestal. They will fall off. Okay. So you have all of those stages, right? So now we're not talking about that. We're talking about the contact into a lead generation and then into a contract. That's the part we're talking about, generating a contract, right? So to get a contract, to get somebody to actually sign a contract, you have to give them an offer, right? And that offer, you need to make sure that you are you're a solution provider. You're coming in as a solution provider. That means you're consulting when you're talking to them. That means you're not under any kind of pressure. You're not under any kind of pressure to sell them. You're basically, in fact, if there's any kind of pressure, you really need to be fact finding and finding out why they want to sell and how soon do they need to sell. What else is wrong with the property? What else do I need to know about the roof, about the septic tank, about the oil tank, about things like that, things that will cost money in real life that you need to know upfront, right? So I call it disposition solution offer, right? So now we're not talking about you disposing the property. We're not talking about you locking the property under contract and then having the need to dispose it. I'm talking about them disposing of the property to you and the investors in your network, right? So you have to frame it as a disposition solution for them. Okay, if they're not thinking of the property as as being disposed, there's a good chance they're not motivated. Okay, there's a very good chance that they're not motivated and they're not going to give you the price that will make sense to an investor, and you're going to get stuck with a contract, and then you're going to end up with a person that's just angry because you couldn't sell the property. You lock a property under contract, you wasted their time for 30 days, and then nobody wants the property. And here you are, you're a new beginner in the game, and you have to pull out a contract. Okay, and if you're following a lot of gurus out there, you're probably losing $100, $50, $10, who knows, right? But the point here is that you want to make sure you upfront do your best to preframe the mindset of your prospects. You want them to understand that you are providing a solution. They have to feel like they have to dispose of property. If they don't feel like they have to dispose of a property, they are going to waste your time. Worst part of that is that you're going to waste their time, and then you're going to have high raised up hopes, right? That you're about to do a deal, and then everything is going to fall through because you didn't do your math in the beginning. All right. So speaking of math in the beginning, there's another lesson that I wanted to share with you on how to calculate ARV. I did another video on comps, but we're taking it further, okay? Because there's a difference between the size of a house and the location of a house. Which one do you think prevails when it comes to the value of a property? The size of a house? If you had to choose between the size of a house or the location of a property, which one do you think prevails? I'm going to leave that question for you while I continue into the lesson, okay? And then when I come back, I want you to, I will review the answers that you guys have, right? If you're watching me later, still put it in the comment area, right? Which one prevails? The size of a house. So there's the size of a house, 3,000 square footage, but the rest of the houses in the area are about 1,500 square foot, 1,200 square foot, maybe what? Like 2,100 square foot, the biggest, but that house is 3,000 square foot, right? So when you have to determine the value of the property, does the size, because price square footage there's a price to square footage. The bigger the houses, if everything else were equal, right? The bigger is the houses, the more expensive it is, right? Generally speaking. But now you're about to create an after repair value. You're coming up with an opinion, so you can lock a property under contract at a particular price, a predetermined price offer, right? Because that's when you make money. When you lock that price in, that's when you make money. Not when you sell, not when you find a cash buyer. You make money when you're locking a deal that makes sense, right? All right, so I'm going to come back to that if I remember, hopefully. Remind me, okay? If you guys don't participate in that, then I may forget. So the first offer, there are two offers, okay? The first one is a quick cash disposition offer, right? That means you got to give them a price that, hey, if you want to sell this and you need quick cash and you need to be out, I'll pay this much cash, and don't worry about the closing cost. I'll pay the closing cost as well. I'll pay your closing cost. Everyone who's selling a property understands that they have a closing cost, right? All right. If you're watching me right now, there's two of you watching me right now that you can give it a thumbs up. Please make sure you give it a thumbs up, okay? So remember, you're dealing with a motivated seller, right? A motivated seller is a person who needs to dispose of property. They need to. They don't want to. There's two different things. A person who wants to sell a property will go to a realtor, and not just that, they will stage the property, spend money on repairing the property, and they're ready to go. And they have time. They have about 60 to 100 days to find the right person to buy the property. Those are not your prospect as a real estate wholesaler, especially. Okay, as a real estate investor, that's not your prospect. You're looking for a person who has a reason, a life. It may be crisis. Maybe the crisis is on the property itself. Maybe it's on the person, the personal finances, right? And they need to get rid of a property, not want to sell. Okay. Oh, he wants to sell. He's really motivated. No, that's not motivation that we need. They're all motivation. They're all agendas. But the kind of motivation you need is, this piece of property is trouble on my papers. I need to get rid of it. I need to move forward with my life. This thing is holding me hostage. I need to sell it. Those are the people you're looking for, okay? And they are not most of the people you're going to talk to. Most of the people you're going to talk to are the people that want to sell. And some people, it's just a timing issue, and you have to wait, right? And make sure you're following up with anybody that has become a lead in your system. You want to make sure you're following up from time to time, right? So the first offer you want to give them is a quick cash offer, but you want to let them know, like, hey, there's other options. But if you want a quick cash and you want out of this deal and it's really that bad, you need to be out. You don't have time. If you don't have time, then you have to be willing to sell equity, sell some equity in exchange for the time. Like, they need to get out of the deal right now, right? And then you need to get that. And that's the cheapest form. You want to make sure you're not paying more than 65% minus repair estimate of the property. You want to make sure you're not locking up properties anything more than 65%. If you do so, you're going to end up with a contract that you cannot sell. Okay? It doesn't matter what part of the nation you are. If you're a wholesaler, especially, you need to be borderline conservative with those numbers. The numbers are real. You want to make sure you are looking at the numbers, and the numbers make sense. So basically, you need to know how to analyze a property, right? All right, great. So that's the first offer. But you can offer them a second offer. And you want to make sure that when you're sending in a report to them by email and say, hey, I do have an offer for you. The first offer is, of course, cash offer. You just want out. You don't really care about money. You just want out, right? The second offer, if you got time and you really need out, maybe because you're owing too much money or because, the numbers are too tight or anything like that, as long as we can make the property produce, I can help you with that, and we can come up with a creative offer. So if you ever heard things like subjects to and stuff like that, that's the second part. It's called creative disposition offer, right? You don't want to tell them the details right now, okay? You're just telling them you're leaving the doors open. You want, like, when you're negotiating, right? You always want to leave the doors open. You want to let them know that, hey, let me know if you're ready. We can always work something out, right? Just let me know. Give me a call, But that's a report right there. Those are the comps in your area. That's the price we're willing to pay right now. Every month, every day that goes by, that price can change, just so you know. But if you feel like that's absolutely not an option, but you don't really need cash, maybe they said, maybe I'm offering $150,000, but really they don't need $150,000. They just need $20,000. And they don't want to lose all of the property just like that, right? There are creative deals that can be done over time. There's subjects to, you've heard about subject to existing financing of the property. There are other creative deals that can be done. There's always a way to do a deal as long as you have a motivated seller. They have to sell. They have to sell doesn't mean they have to sell cheap, but they are open to getting rid of the responsibilities with the property. It's not always the property that they need to get rid of. It's the responsibility that comes with the property. So, for example, a person that needs to get rid of a property and they don't care how much they make, that will be the first option, which is a quick cash disposition offer. Even if they are underwater, right? Like, for example, I have a situation where the person owes about $60,000. Property is only worth $30,000. That is a short sale situation, but they're motivated. If that person is motivated and they need to sell because they're about to foreclose on them on July 2nd, right? That there's a deal in there. You want to work with that person and you can negotiate the short sale. You don't have to be the one negotiating the short sale. You can give it to people who know how to do that and split profit with people all day long and focus on what you do best, which should be lead generation, okay, marketing, okay. So that's one right there. So let me recircle back real quick. The other option is they're motivated. They need to, but they don't want to lose all that equity. Maybe they have a property that's worth $300,000, and they don't want to sell that property for how much is that? Like $210,000. The property is in good shape. 65% is 210. They feel like I'm losing $90,000. Is there any other thing we can do? See, once you put on the hat of a consultant, right, and you're just helping them solve a problem, then they can ask you such question. Yes, absolutely, there are things we can do, but let me do the math. Let me find out how much rent is going for in the area. You just don't want to have to deal with this house. You're like out-of-state landlord and stuff like that. Those are the kind of people that fall in that kind of category. They don't want to lose all that equity. They're having a difficult time selling you the house for $210,000 when it's actually worth $300,000 if they were patient enough. They just want to get rid of it, or it needs some work and they're not willing to get into the repair work, but they also don't want to lose equity, but they're still talking to you. If they're still talking to you, that means they're open. Then you want to let them know there are options like creative financing. There's options like creative disposition offer, and you just want to do the math or find somebody else to help you with the math. So basically with that, it's not just about subject to, like if you have a mortgage, right, of $400,000 against a $300,000, the payment on it cannot, like the payment on it, the servicing on it is going to swallow basically all of the rental that comes through it. It's not worth it, right? In that case, if it's underwater, it needs to be short sales, right? So there are different nuances. It depends on the particular situation, and you just want to make sure that it makes sense. Okay, you want to make sure. So those are two offers you always want to offer people that are talking to you. If anybody is being disrespectful, don't offer them anything. Offer them to hang up on them. Okay, that's just what it is. Okay, you really don't have time for non-motivated sellers. Say, have a good day, and you hang up. Very simple. You should be the one. If you have a pipeline and there are leads coming in, or there are leads you can reach out to, that's what you should be spending most of your time on if you want to win big in this game and not get discouraged out of the game. So those are the two options right there that I wanted to share with you. You have the first one is a quick cash disposition offer. The other one is don't just say, hey, since the cash didn't work out. No, the number still has to work out, but you want to make sure the first pre-qualification, you want to make sure you're talking to a motivated seller. A motivated seller, they're not camouflaged. You're not going to have to dig through them that much. Before you ask a few questions, they'll tell you in their own words. Why are you selling? I just want to sell. That's probably not a motivated person. Okay. All right. That's probably not. You should still continue the conversation. You just want to sell. Oh, okay. Tell me the story about the property. You heard me here yesterday, right? Just tell me the story. Inside of them telling you the story, sometimes if they're uptight, they will be quiet and they will give you that awkward silence. You have to be comfortable with awkward silence if you're going to consult. Tell me the story about the property. There's a little of 15 seconds silence. You should be able to deal with that. Just be quiet and wait until they tell you, well, I just saw, and then they start going into it, right? And then you say, okay, from what they're saying is how you respond back to them. If they use a terminology that you don't even understand, don't worry about it. Can you spell that for me? Oh, that's what you meant. Okay. You're collecting data as you're talking to them. You're not under any pressure to sell, and you never have to sell in this game if you don't want to. Now, if you're having they call it a salesperson complex, and you want to sell, please do what you gotta do, But I'm just saying, most people are probably not. They get intimidated with the whole sales thing, and they think they have to sell. No, you don't have to sell. You just gotta be obsessed with solving real estate problems, and you will be in this game obsessed with two things: marketing, lead generation, and marketing, same thing, right? And then solving problems. And how do you solve problems when you don't know how to fact find? You have to be able to talk and say, tell me what's going on with the property. What's the issue? How come you haven't listed with the realtor? Don't be afraid to ask that question. Well, I just thought I could sell it really quickly. You probably heard one example like that here yesterday. If you didn't watch yesterday, make sure you go watch yesterday episode 24 of From Data to Deals. Okay. All right. So that's that. That's what I have for you today. Chuk, what's up, Chuk? Welcome, welcome. Uh, Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. A review on Amazon, a review anywhere, a quick review email to myEmpirePRO@gmail.com helps us out a lot. So please feel free to send that in. Okay. Uh, the consulting sound promising. Yeah, yeah. That's where you have to be. That's where you have to be. Okay. Don says, how do you run comps on a property that has two homes located on? What do you mean two homes located on? What do you mean by that? As in like this one property and there are two homes on it? Is that what you mean? Uh, Let me see here if I can actually find out a good example of a comp to run here. I'm supposed to round up right now, but maybe I can spend an extra 5 minutes. Let's see here. Let me find let's go to 117 Bramblewood Drive in Statesville, North Carolina. How's that? Right, let's go to that place. Statesville. Oh, okay. Statesville. Statesville. All right, so I use a tool called Empire Big Data. Okay. And you could probably see it on my screen. That's what I use to run my comps. Okay. Let's go here. All right, yeah, right there. Empire Big Data is what I use. You can get a free 7-day trial there. Let's see. All right, for some reason, I always get locked out during this time. Let's see here. Who else is there are two people watching me on Facebook. I know Chuk is watching me on Facebook. Who else is watching me on Facebook right now? If you're watching me on Facebook, I'm not sure what that is. Okay. We're missing two more thumbnails. I said thumbnails, thumbs ups. Thumbs up on YouTube. If you can please give us that too, that would be nice. We're missing two thumbs ups on YouTube. All right, so let me share my screen with you guys real quick. Share screen. All right, so we can round up with this one today. Statesville, North Carolina. Let's look at this deal right here. Let's look at this comps. Let's run comps on this, okay? The answer to that question is the question I asked you earlier. I said, what prevails when it comes to the size of a property or the location of the property when it comes to valuation of the property? You know, I mean, that wasn't a trick question. That was basically location, location, location. It's as simple as that. That's real estate is location, is about location. I don't care how big your mansion is. If there are no other comparables in the area, I'm so sorry. That person is about to lose a lot of money if they paid a lot of money for that property. That is right. So the location in real estate always and will always prevail. Okay. All right. So let's go look at this property. So we're looking at this property right here. We even got some pictures. Looks we're just gonna use as example to run some comps. There are some pictures here. I'm trying to see if I can see what it looks like on the front. It looks like it was brand newly rehabbed. Right. All right. Yep. Looks like a brand newly rehabbed property right there. Right. Decent, right? All right. So let's see what it's worth. What is this property worth? Right. I'm not even sure. Well, it's sold. Let's go into details. All right. All right. So okay. All right. So we go here. Let's see here. Okay, we have the owner is Open Door Property C LLC. All right, so this property sold on for in December for $147,000. So, but we're here to look at comparables. Let's see comparables, right? There's a couple of tricky things in comparables that when you're using this tool, you want to make sure that you're using the right criteria. I always go 1 year. 1 year is fine. I used to go 6 months because I'm conservative like that. But in recent times, it's okay to go 1 year. And if there's any trouble with that, we can always. All right. So this part right here, this system always sets like a range based on the property on the property's square footage itself. So the square footage of this house is 1242. So I think it does something like plus minus 200. But I like to take that out, okay? Because because I'm gonna use the numbers. I just delete that out. Delete that. Okay. So when you delete that, you may just see more options, right? So I'm gonna go both, so I can see all the publicly listed. Now, if you're in a non-disclosure state, you don't want to use the public record. Plus, the tool will warn you that you're in a non-disclosure state. So, all right. So we have this a few comps, not a lot of comps, okay. But let me go 1 mile because it's default to 0.5 mile. I go 1 mile personally, okay. And then we see more comps, right? We see more comparables, right? So I'm gonna deselect everything else. I'm gonna go to. I just need like the top 5 price per square footage because that's the best case scenario. All right. So I'm gonna go top 5 price per square footage, right? And then I'll click on that. All right. So then I'll select the first 5. Okay, in a certified appraiser, they only use 3 anyway. I think they use 3 solds and 3 listings. I never use listings to determine the ARV because listings is speculative in nature. You know. All right. All right. So let's see here. All right. So I need one more, right? All right. So we got 149 River Run, Brown Blue Road. Okay. So when you pick both here, you want to make sure you're not picking duplicate here. But I always pick the blue one is the MLS. So I'm going to take one of them out because it's the same one because it's pulling them from public record and MLS. Okay. The same thing went here, so I only end up with 2. Right. All right. And sorry guys, I have a. All right, so let's see here. We got 138 Riverbank Drive, okay, and you can see all the square footage. They're not too far off. This one is a bigger house, 1900, but we're gonna adjust for square footage, right? So we're gonna see in a second here. 149. So we'll only pick 138. We got how many? So you can see right here it says 4 selected. I need one more. I'm gonna pick 144 Riverbank. Okay. So now when I do that, I see that there's 216. It's telling me that this property is worth $216,000 just based off of average sales price. However, price per square footage is $111.40. Okay. So there are actually 2 average sales price that I have. And anytime if you ever run into a problem where you try to sell a deal and then the investors are telling you the comparables they're not good enough, your comparables are bad, that house is not worth that much, is because you haven't done in-depth analysis like this. Okay. Now sometimes you can never really satisfy them. You just gotta, some people's bad deal is some people's good deal. You got to make sure you expose it enough and make sure enough people see it before you conclude that it's a bad deal, right? But it's $111.40 here per square footage. But so we have 1242 here, right? So what we're going to do is multiply this 1242, multiply that by the price per square footage, which is 40, right? $111.40. And Google is already telling me that. You see that? So this is actually good that it's telling me here 138,358. Let me see if that's accurate. I think it is. All right. So we got 2 prices. We got this price 138,358, and we also have 216. Okay. So price per square footage is telling me 138. That house is a small house. Right. So what do you think is the actual ARV of this property? Is it 216 or 138? It's one of those 2. Okay. That's it right there. It's one of those two. But what do you think it is? Anybody want to try? 138 or 216? Which one is it? Hey, you're training. What does hey, you're training mean? You know, English is not my first language. What does hey, you're training mean? Dela Smith. Right? So guys, so what do you think? Is it 138? We got 5 people watching me. Okay, maybe 3, 5, something like that. Right? Is it 138 or 216? What do you guys think? That's where we're gonna end it today. You know, what do you guys think? Is it 138 or 216? Is this property worth 138 or 216? It's one of those two. You gotta go with one of those two. It's not rocket science. But I want to tell you what the answer is. But is it 138 or 216? $138 or 216, guys? What is it? What's the value of this piece of property? Is it 138 or 216? If you just came in and you missed all of that, you gotta watch that video all over again. This right here will kill deals. Okay, if you don't get this right, it will kill your deal. All right, is it 138 or 216K? What is the value of that property? Remember the question we asked earlier? Is it location? Is this the size of the property? Now the size of the property is saying 216, right? Now the size of the property is saying 216. Based on price per square footage average in that area, right? But then, no, the size of the house is saying 138, but the location is saying 216, right? What do you guys think? Which one is it? Is it 138 or 216? The size is saying 138. The location is saying 216. This is where it got tricky because the previous answer I gave you earlier, it's not necessarily true suddenly. It's not necessarily true suddenly right now because you're a wholesaler. You're an investor, okay? Somebody's going to spend money on this, right? And you make money when you buy, not when you're selling, right? You make money when you're buying, not when you're selling. That's very, very important to know. And the last thing you want to do is locking a property under contract, wasting somebody's time. And so here's what we're going to do, guys. What we're going to do is this. Here's what I'm going to do. All right. Let's see here. Oh, what happened to it? All right. So basically it's 138 or 216. 138K versus 216. Basically, what I'll do is I'll be back here tomorrow. If you remind me tomorrow, I'll give you the answer then tomorrow. But this right here will kill a deal. All right. This will kill a deal. All right. Right there. Is it 138K or 216? The example I just gave was that 138 or 216. That's almost $100,000 difference in value of a property. That will kill a deal, okay? Or will kill your reputation in the marketplace, okay? Right? That can kill your reputation in the marketplace. Like if you keep sending out deals with the wrong value, or you lock up properties under contract with the wrong value, same location within 1 mile radius, okay? And just one little difference, right? So I think I've said like the answer in multiple different ways, but if you remind me tomorrow, we'll come back to it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you're brand new here, make sure you go download Smart Real Estate Wholesaling. Look out for 11 days challenge. It's coming. We're working on it. Basically, the idea is you can set up your business in 11 days, okay? And you can run the business 4 hours per week. That's the idea, okay? And and just look out for that. Okay, look out for that. And it's gonna be a one-time fee, so it's not like a monthly membership or anything. But if you're a member here with us, premium member, you will have access to it, so you don't have to pay for it. But look out for that. It's a lot of fun working on it right now. All right, thank you so much. See you on the next one. Peace.